But the last one wasn't just dismissive, he was cruel. And to make matters worse, he was someone I knew from high school.
James, I didn't know a loser like you could even afford to look at a car.
Steven used to bully me in high school when I was paralyzed. He would mess with my wheelchair and make fun of me for it. I'm looking for my daughter. Is there someone I can talk to?
Me. I'm the manager. I can help you by rolling your wheels out of my building.
Don't touch my wheelchair. I came to see about getting a car. I saw you were selling the red Toyota Corolla.
And what the hell are you going to do with it? We don't take pennies.
I can afford to pay for the car.
Yeah? But what use would it be to a cripple like you?
Like I said, it's for my daughter.
Yeah, is she a cripple like you? Use that money to buy a house or something.
I was fuming. I was never more disrespected than when he tried to shove me out of the way, just as he used to in high school. My name is James, and I've been in a wheelchair since I was in high school. It's been hard to go from having the world at the tip of my fingers to having to hoist myself up in the morning. I was always an independent person. Someone who did everything for himself and had to rely on others now and then was a new thing for me. Especially when it came to getting any kind of service. Some people would rather ignore I exist, and some like to put on a whole show. I prefer being ignored, but there were days when I thought the showboating would be way better than the service. I've had people belittle me until I was red in the face, and I would make sure they never did it again. My name is James, and this is the story of how I got revenge on a car dealership that decided I was not worth even ignoring, but rather mocking. Humiliating me is a wish that comes with a prison sentence or death. When I was younger, I knew I wanted to be someone important, someone no one could ignore. I started young and making my own business, starting with lemonade stands, then selling cookies and candy bars at school. I worked hard in my business sales, even while playing football and running track. I made sure to always be on top of everything I did. I even made my first $1,000 by the time I was a junior in high school. I was saving up for a car, but my parents surprised me with one.
Happy birthday, James.
Happy birthday, my baby boy.
Mom, I'm 17. Please stop with the baby boy.
You'll always be my baby boy.
Mom.
One more kiss on the cheek for good luck.
You've been working hard. Did you save enough for a car?
Almost. I have 1,000. It's a start.
Well, why not save that for something else?
I need a car.
You do. That's why you got one.
My parents bought me a Honda Civic. Not my dream car, but it's a great starting point. Especially for the career I had in mind. I needed something to move around, and I could start doing food delivery to make some more money. I was beyond happy, and I made sure to spoil my parents later after they gave me the keys to my new car. I took care of that car, ensured there were no spills, the tank was always full, and performed careful cleaning every Saturday. One day, during one of my food deliveries, it was pretty late at night. I waited for my green light and started to turn when someone slammed into my car. I couldn't tell you what happened next. Everything was a blur. I saw lights and heard faint sounds of sirens. I was pretty sure I heard my mother's cries at some point. When I woke up, I saw the doctor and my parents. Is the car okay?
Honey, are you? My sweet baby boy, what happened?
I don't know. It was green. I turned, and this idiot drove past the red light, hitting me. What happened to the car?
It was totaled. The car is not what we're worried about. I'm fine. I feel fine.
Honey.
Well, you might feel fine because your body isn't 100% over the shock. The airbag had luckily inflated and protected you from most of the impact. However, not all of you were protected.
What do you mean? What's wrong?
I'm sorry, sweetie.
James, you are paralyzed from the waist down. Your legs won't be able to function as they once did. You have a spinal cord injury.
What?
I'm sorry, son. This is a lot to take in. Take the time to breathe and spend quality time with your family. This is a lot to swallow.
My life had changed over a night because of someone's stupid driving. I lost my legs because of them, and there was nothing I could do about it. I had lost everything in that one night. No amount of physical therapy could help. I was bound to the wheelchair, and my life changed from then on. People rolled their eyes at me when they saw me coming in my wheelchair. Some even started to mess with my wheelchair, trying to throw me off of it. But I was still focused on one thing: making my own business. I wasn't going to back down even if I am in a wheelchair. So I got to work. I started to focus on making wheelchairs for hiking. It was one of the things I loved when I could use my legs. I loved hiking, taking in nature and breathing some fresh air. I was determined to make hiking wheelchairs that wouldn't break anyone's bank and still help me build my business. By the time I graduated from high school, I had sold my first wheelchair for hiking. I continued to develop my brand and grow the business. At some point, I found love with someone I never thought possible.
You may now kiss the bride.
I met the love of my life, Sarah. Together, we continued to build our life and business. We even had a daughter. The moment I saw my little star, Casey, being born, I knew I wanted to give her the same gifts my parents had given me. Years later, when Casey was old enough, I planned to buy her a car and save enough for college, in case she decided to attend. When the day finally came for her to pick up her car, we visited several dealerships. Most of the salespeople were overly kind, as they usually are, while others barely acknowledged us. But the last one wasn't just dismissive, he was cruel. And to make matters worse, he was someone I knew from high school.
James, I didn't know a loser like you could even afford to look at a car.
Steven used to bully me in high school when I was paralyzed. He would mess with my wheelchair and make fun of me for it. I'm looking for my daughter. Is there someone I can talk to?
Me. I'm the manager. I can help you by rolling your wheels out of my building.
Don't touch my wheelchair. I came to see about getting a car. I saw you were selling the red Toyota Corolla.
And what the hell are you going to do with it? We don't take pennies.
I can afford to pay for the car.
Yeah? But what use would it be to a cripple like you?
Like I said, it's for my daughter.
Yeah, is she a cripple like you? Use that money to buy a house or something.
I was fuming. I was never more disrespected than when he tried to shove me out of the way, just as he used to in high school. I swore to get revenge. I had my wife, Sarah, come back to buy the car while also getting the number of the owner. I knew Steven wouldn't give it to me, and it would be harder to go around him. Sarah was always good at sweet-talking and getting people to do what she wanted. I came back the next day with Sarah.
Oh, my lovely Sarah, you're back. Did this hobo follow you? I can push him out.
This man is my husband. The man I mentioned to you the other day.
Ah, is he living off you? I could help you find some help if that's what you need.
Is that how you treat all your customers?
Look, I was giving you a great deal out of respect. Cutting $10,000 was very generous of me, but I'll have to add it back on.
Cut? You added $10,000. Now the car is going to cost $20,000 more?
I don't know what you're talking about. That is the price of the car.
You told me that the original price was $120,000, but you were giving me a discount. $110,000.
That's right.
But the car was originally $100,000. So why were you adding another $20,000? God, is your brain as useless as your legs? The original price is $120,000.
No, it's not. The original price is $100K. Sir, what are you doing here? I came because James called me about your rude treatment of him. But to find out you're also stealing from the clients in the company. You will be suspended without pay until our investigation is complete. What? No, sir, please. No. I don't want to hear another word. Apologize to Mr. James and pack your things. Sorry.
I could see that Steven didn't mean it. He was upset that I had caught him. I wasn't yet satisfied, however. During Steven's reign of insults, my wife was recording everything. We posted the video online, and it went viral. There was no way for Steven to escape the consequences of his actions, and as a result, his wife left with the kids.
What kind of man treats someone like that? What's wrong with you?
Please, baby, I can explain.
We're done.
His wife and kids were gone after the video went viral. He was slowly losing everything he ever worked for. Steven was not only fired from his job, he was also fined $40 million by his company and sent to jail. It seems my wife wasn't the only one being given fake numbers. He had done this to so many people to steal some extra cash from under the table. He mainly focused on those who came in with money. When he got to jail, he was met with men who he screwed over and learned the hard way that he shouldn't try to bully his way to the top.
You with the ugly scars? Grab me something I can eat. You want to try that again, punk? Stop wasting my time.
Steven had to learn the hard way not to mess with people. He was getting beaten up every day until he realized that he was at the bottom of the food chain. When he did finally get out of prison, he couldn't find work. No one would touch him with a 10-foot pole, but he had to pay off his $40 million. So I gave him a job. During the day, he cleans my house so I don't have to see him, but I have cameras on him. At night, he cleans my company. Oddly enough, I started allowing pets to come into work and designated an area for them to use, eliminating the need for anyone to clean up after them. I did have a new janitor whose new job was to clean up after them. And as for the car, my daughter loved it. Worth every penny. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories. And took over the space where my mother's warmth used to live. A few months later, Clara got pregnant, and suddenly, the house felt too small for all of us. My father and Clara made plans to kick me out. One evening, he called me into the living room with Clara standing beside him.
Pack your things, Paul. You're leaving my house. We need space for the baby.
I was so shocked that I couldn't even move. I was 16, still a kid, with nowhere to go. I begged him to reconsider, but he shoved a small bag at me, telling me to take my clothes and get lost. Clara didn't say a word. She just watched as I stuffed my belongings into the bag with shaky hands. That night, I slept on the streets for the first time. I cried from the cold and hunger I was feeling. I was depressed and lost in a world that didn't care if I survived. For months, I scraped by doing odd jobs like washing cars, sweeping shop floors, and carrying groceries for tips. I slept in alleys, under bridges, anywhere I could hide from the rain. One afternoon, I was sitting on a small table, counting the coins I'd earned. My father was a monster. He was a man who thrived on control and cruelty. Growing up, I always watched him mistreat my mother, who was a strong, hard-working woman who carried our family on her shoulders. She was the breadwinner, the one who owned the house we lived in and the cars we drove. She worked long hours as a nurse. Her hands were always busy, yet she would always smile and say she believes everything will be fine. But my father, a jobless drunk who spent his days gambling away her earnings, made her life hell. He'd scream at her for the smallest things, like dinner being late, or her working overtime. Sometimes he'd hit her, leaving bruises for her to hide under long sleeves the next day. The stress ate at her, making her look wrinkly and older than her age. Eventually, her heart gave out when I was 12. The doctors said it was a heart attack, but I knew that it was my father's cruelty that killed her. After she died, his anger turned on me. I became his punching bag and a scapegoat for his failures. He treated me like trash, calling me useless, a burden, and a reminder of the woman he'd broken. The slightest provocation, like spilling a glass of water or a glance he didn't like, earned me a slap or a fist. I learned to make myself small and to tiptoe around his temper, but it was never enough. My mother's absence left a void that he filled with rage, and I was too young to escape it. When I was 15, my father brought home a new wife. She was a woman named Clara. She wasn't cruel, but she wasn't kind either. She just indifferent to whatever was happening. She moved into my mother's house with her cheap perfume and loud laugh, and took over the space where my mother's warmth used to live. A few months later, Clara got pregnant, and suddenly, the house felt too small for all of us. My father and Clara made plans to kick me out. One evening, he called me into the living room with Clara standing beside him.
Pack your things, Paul. You're leaving my house. We need space for the baby.
I was so shocked that I couldn't even move. I was 16, still a kid, with nowhere to go. I begged him to reconsider, but he shoved a small bag at me, telling me to take my clothes and get lost. Clara didn't say a word. She just watched as I stuffed my belongings into the bag with shaky hands. That night, I slept on the streets for the first time. I cried from the cold and hunger I was feeling. I was depressed and lost in a world that didn't care if I survived. For months, I scraped by doing odd jobs like washing cars, sweeping shop floors, and carrying groceries for tips. I slept in alleys, under bridges, anywhere I could hide from the rain. One afternoon, I was sitting on a small table, counting the coins I'd earned, when I heard a scream. I turned to see a woman who was struggling with a thief trying to snatch her purse. Without thinking, I ran over and tackled the guy. I'd become strong from living on the streets. After giving him a few punches, he ran away, leaving the purse behind. The woman couldn't stop thanking me as I handed her purse back to her. I thought she would leave after, but she suddenly started studying my face.
You look just like my sister. Are you Paul? Paul Williams?
I told her that's my name. I was confused at how shocked she looked until she introduced herself as Aunt Sandra, my mother's elder sister, who'd been living abroad in Spain for years. She'd come back to the States for a short visit. She took me to a restaurant for a meal. As we were eating, she asked why I was on the streets. I told her about how my father had kicked me out to make room for his new wife and baby. She looked so angry.
That man, he's a disgrace. We should have him arrested for what he's done to you.
I begged her not to do that because I didn't want more drama. I didn't want to face him again. If she got him arrested and it gets to the court, I might have to start living with him again. As much as I wanted a roof under my head, I didn't want it from him. I just wanted to move on. Aunt Sandra seemed to agree. She told me she was leaving for Spain in 2 days and insisted I come with her. I'd never left the country, never even been on a plane. Since the streets had nothing for me, I agreed. Aunt Sandra immediately began preparation. She bought me new clothes, a proper suitcase, and other things. 2 weeks later, we left the States. When we landed in Spain, my life changed. Aunt Sandra enrolled me in a good school. She bought me more good clothes and shoes. She gave me everything. When she noticed how much I loved football, she asked if I'd like to know more about the sport. As soon as I agreed, she enrolled me in a football academy. Years passed, and my hard work paid off. By 25, I'd become a famous footballer, a striker for a top Premier League club. My name was on billboards and my face on sports ads. I was filthy rich, with a penthouse in Spain, houses in other countries, a garage full of cars, and endorsement deals that made my bank account swell. I owed it all to Aunt Sandra, who'd become my rock and my only real family. One day, Clara suddenly called me.
Paul, I need your help. Your father has been going crazy since I had my child. He's beating me and our daughter, Lisa. We can't take it anymore. I'm so sorry for what we did to you. I was wrong. Please help us.
Her words made me feel both angry and satisfied. She was facing the same thing my mother faced before her death. I told her I couldn't do much to help. After all, they'd kicked me out together. Clara kept begging and crying. I thought about the times when I was still back at home. I remembered that she never laid her hands on me. She was probably that way because she was scared of not supporting my father. When I told Aunt Sandra about it, she told me to go ahead and help Clara if I wanted to. So, I thought of a way to help. I asked Clara if she had somewhere to go if my father was out of the picture. She said yes, that her sister who lives around would take her and Lisa in. She apologized again. I decided it was time for revenge. Aunt Sandra had told me years ago that my mother, knowing my father's greed, had given her the ownership papers to our house. My mother never trusted my father with it, and now those papers were my weapon. I flew back to the States, my first time returning since I'd left. I hired a sharp lawyer who reviewed the documents and confirmed they were airtight. Then I called my father. I didn't greet him or let him try to talk to me either. I'm calling to inform you that you have only 7 days to leave the house. It's not yours. It never was. I have the papers to prove it. I will be claiming the house. He laughed, thinking I was bluffing, and hung up. But I wasn't playing games. Over the next week, I coordinated with my lawyer and hired a team of bouncers. On the 7th day, I arrived at the house with them. Clara and Lisa were already gone. She'd texted me that morning, saying they'd left for her sister's place. The house didn't look good. It was as if my father never thought of painting the place or retouching it. I walked in to see him drinking on the couch. He jumped up when he saw me.
Paul, what the hell are you doing here?
I didn't answer. I simply signaled to the bouncers, who started grabbing his things and tossing them onto the lawn. He shouted and cursed at me, but I held up the ownership papers, letting him see my mother's name, my aunt's signature, and the legal stamps. That was enough to make him crumble. He tried to fight back by swinging at one of the bouncers, but they restrained him easily and dragged him outside. He fell to his knees on the sidewalk, begging.
Paul, please. I'm your father. Don't do this. I have nowhere to go.
I felt no pity or guilt. I'd spent years rebuilding myself from the wreckage he'd left me in. Now it was his turn to suffer. I sold the house the next day at a cheap price because I didn't need the money. I earned more than enough from football. I just wanted the house gone. With the sale finalized, I began preparing to return to Spain. My flight was booked for 4 days later, and I spent the time tying up loose ends, eager to leave the States and my father's shadow behind. 2 days after the sale, as I was driving to see my lawyer, my father suddenly appeared on the road. He flagged me down. I stopped and rolled down my window to hear him.
I know I've been a bad father. I've realized it now. Forgive me, son. I'll change. I swear to you, I'll change. Please forgive me.
I got out of my car to face him. He looked so hopeful, so I decided to shatter the hope by telling him I had nothing for him. You're a bad, dirty man. You don't deserve any form of pity from anyone. I want you to get it into your head that I'll never help you. Never! His pitiful face instantly switched to an angry one. He raised his hand to slap me, but I grabbed it and flung it off. I was angry. How dare him try to slap me? I grabbed him by the collar and gave him the beating of his life. I hit him for every pain he put my mother and I through. I ignored his pleas and beat him until I was satisfied. I got back into my car without a word and drove off. My knuckles were bruised, but my heart was finally satisfied. On the day I was set to leave, as I was driving to the airport, I saw my father running after the car, throwing stones at my car and shouting at me to stop. I knew he still wanted to beg for forgiveness. I would have stopped, but I didn't feel like bruising my knuckles again, so I kept driving. It was as he kept running after me that a car hit him from behind. I saw his body tumble to the ground, but I kept driving. I wouldn't let him pull me back into his chaos. If he was going to die from the hit, then so be it. At the airport, I boarded my flight and finally left the country. Later, I heard through a cousin that the driver who hit him had taken him to a hospital. My father survived, but his legs were shattered, which meant that he'd never walk again. Now, he lived on the streets as a homeless and disabled beggar. I felt no atom of pity for him. He deserved it. As for me, well, I am doing well for myself, and I am also sponsoring Lisa, my stepsister. Thanks for watching.